My name is Scott Rose. I graduated from GBS in 1989. And before we get started, I would like to show you two videos that are going to give you a little bit of an idea of what my career is like. And let's see if you can figure out what my career is.
Hello? Oh, hey, Quagmire, what's up?
Hey, Peter, I need some help with my computer. I can't find my photos.
Did you look under Photos?
What is that?
It's a folder called Photos.
Yeah, I don't have that. I just have 40 folders all called New Folder.
Okay, you know what? Click on your hard drive.
Okay, now the arrow on the screen, that's me, right?
Yeah, that's you. Okay, now just...
Whoa, there's a calculator on this thing?
Listen, Quagmire, what are you trying to do?
I just want to put pictures of my cat on everyone's internet computer. Like, how do I do that? Okay, wait, there's an agreement that just popped up. Hang on, let me read the whole thing.
Just hit accept.
Well, that seems a little foolhardy, doesn't it, Peter?
Look, do we have to do this now? I'm watching something.
I know, I'm sorry. I'm just nervous that somebody else is going to get pictures of their cat on the internet first, and then I'll always be known as the second guy to get pictures of his cat on the internet.
Quagmire, I don't know how to tell you this, but there's already cats on the internet.
Wait, it's giving me that pinwheel thing. It's frozen. Oh my god, it crashed! The whole thing just crashed!
Quagmire, calm down, we'll figure it out.
No, Peter, the whole thing's fried! I can't even... Damn it, what the hell?
Hey, you clicked accept.
Hello, IT? Have you tried turning it off and on again? Hello, IT? Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Hello, IT. Yeah, have you tried turning it off and on again?
Hello, IT? Something's wrong with my computer. Have you tried turning it off and on again? No. Oh dear, thanks. Hello, IT? Have you tried turning it off and on again? Hello, IT? Have you tried turning it off and on again? Have you tried sticking it up your arse?
And, Mr. Reynolds' laptop is broken.
Oh,
Something flashed up a second ago.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
No, we haven't.
Hello, IT? Have you tried turning it off? You know what, I'm sick of saying that. From this moment on, everything is going to be different. Hello, IT? Have you tried turning it off and on again? Yeah, but that's an important part of the process. Yes, if you don't complete that part, there's no way that you're going to be able to do the next bit. Okay, so now, turn it back on again. I have to say, have you tried turning it off and on again about 1,000 times a day? It's like a bloody catchphrase. All right, okay, £100 says I don't say it again today. How's that for posture? What? You tried turning it off and on again? What? Have you tried turning it off and on again?
I just want 100 quid.
So have you guys figured out what I do? I am a computer consultant. I run my own successful computer business called Scott World. I started it in Los Angeles, and now it's in Austin, Texas. And I do computer tech support and computer programming. And I have about 200 clients around the country that I do this work for. And today, I came here to share with you one secret which has helped make my career a success. And I'm going to tell you how you can use this very same secret starting today at Glenbrook South, which will help you pick a career and help you pave a pathway of success. Are you guys ready for my secret? All right. My top career secret is this: be weird. And that's it. That is it. It's as simple as that. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. Let me just adjust something here. Okay, good. Much better. So all of us are weird and unique in our own ways. Right? We all have our own hobbies, we all have our own likes and dislikes, but a lot of times we try to shy away from our own weirdness, right? We get embarrassed, we think it's really weird. And we try sometimes to fit in with what everyone else is doing, and in my opinion, this is a huge mistake. If you try to fit in with everyone else, then you're going to end up living somebody else's passions instead of your own passions. And on the other hand, if you embrace your own weirdness, then you will be able to find your own passions in life. And once you find your own passions, you will discover unexpected career opportunities that you might not have even known existed. And it all comes from just embracing your own weirdness. When I was a kid, I was the weirdest kid you'd ever met. This is an article written about me in the Glenbrook announcements in 1985 when I was 13 years old. And they called me a teen computer whiz. Now this was long before computers were considered cool. Right? Computers are kind of cool today? Okay, good. When I was a kid, computers were the weirdest thing. They were not cool at all. This was way before the internet. I was the only kid hanging out in the computer lab. And I was just so weird. All I wanted to do was talk about Apple Computer all the time. And I spent my time writing my own computer games back then on my very first Apple computer. This is what my very first Apple computer looked like, the Apple IIe. Notice the two gigantic floppy disk drives off to the side there. And it also has a green monitor because there were no such thing as color monitors back then. And you can see it's all sitting on my little Fisher-Price desk. So this was like the weirdest thing ever. And it certainly didn't help me make a lot of new friends, right? No one really wanted to chat with a weird computer geek. But I loved Apple, and to this day, I am still an Apple fanatic. And in fact, I'd like to show you a funny video that I created which makes fun of Apple fanatics like myself. This video contains a bunch of things that Apple fanatics have regularly said about Apple Computer over the years. So if you know anything about Apple Computer, you're going to love this video. So enjoy.
It's because Apple doesn't look back, they only look forward. It really isn't that much more expensive.
Sure, you can go with Android if you like unintuitive, frustrating, illogical user interfaces, that's fine.
You get what you paid for.
Of course you can right-click on that.
Gestures. Gestures. Apple can totally survive without Steve Jobs. Yeah, that would not happen if Steve was still alive. Gestures. Gestures.
What do you think of the glasses?
Just a second, I'm just downloading the app update real quick. Gestures. No viruses.
No viruses.
No viruses. No viruses. No viruses. No viruses.
I thought they can't see that they don't have viruses anymore. I thought now there's some viruses.
There was one Trojan horse. Nobody needs Flash. Neither of you have iPhones? Best customer service ever. Nobody needs a Blu-ray drive. No, they love working 18-hour days. It's part of their culture. Technically, their suicide rate is lower than the national average. Nobody needs DVD drives. Apple should totally make iced coffee. I wish Apple made clothes. I wish Apple made barbecue sauce. I wish Apple made swimming pools. I wish Apple made condoms. Nobody needs to add RAM. Nobody needs that many retail employees. I think 4G is coming. 4G is coming in the next iPhone. Oh my god, I can't believe you're using the 4G argument against me. Nobody needs removable batteries. So to right-click on the Mac, you just either press the Control key and click, or nobody needs a 17-inch laptop. Of course there's an app for that. You do 2 fingers and click on the trackpad, or you can set the trackpad to have your finger in the lower right-hand corner be a right-click. You can also reverse it with the lower left-hand corner. You can right-click. So nobody needs iWeb. It just works. Or you can buy a mouse that has extra buttons on it. So there's like, there's like 5 or 6, maybe 20 different ways you can right-click on the Mac. You don't need to right-click anyways. I wish Apple made bookstores. I wish Apple made glasses. Wouldn't it be great if Apple just made everything in the world? What would an Apple city be like? Apple can totally survive with Tim Cook, as long as he keeps hiring great people like John Browett. Just stick with iTools, Apple's gonna fix it. Just stick with .Mac, Apple's gonna fix it. Just stick with MobileMe, Apple's gonna fix it. Just stick with iCloud, Apple's gonna fix it. Just stick with Google, that'll fix it. Nobody needs iDVD. I love Apple. You don't have an iPhone? Nobody needs red camera support. I love Apple. I love Apple. Steve Jobs. 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 I love Apple. I hate Apple.
Thanks, you guys. So, pretty weird, huh? I am a weirdo. Why am I telling you all these weird things about me? Because the more you embrace your own weirdness, the more you will end up with a career that you love. So let me give you a few examples. Let's say that you love playing the fantasy card game Magic the Gathering. Does anybody like playing that here? Oh, wow. Oh my God, a bunch of guys. This was not popular when I was a kid. All right, it was like the weirdest thing ever. But let's say instead of you getting embarrassed by your weirdness, right? Instead of you trying to hide your weirdness like I did when I liked magic when I was younger, what if you embraced your weirdness and you followed it as deeply as you wanted to? Well, you might end up like Pat Johnson, a woman in Austin, Texas, who loved magic so much that she opened up her very own store called Pat's Games. It looks like a little castle there, you can see. And this store specializes in one thing only, Magic the Gathering. She hosts magic tournaments every week, and she has one of the nation's largest libraries of magic cards that she trades and sells to people all over the country. In fact, her store is now considered to be the #1 best and #1 most successful magic store in the entire country. And people fly in from all over the nation to play tournaments at Pat's Games. And it's all because she followed her weirdness. Okay, let's get even weirder than that. What if you love donuts? I mean, what if you really love donuts, right? What if you make your own crazy donut concoctions like that? That is, you're looking at peanut butter chips there, chocolate sauce, melted marshmallows, and peanut butter frosting. Here's a donut that has cream cheese icing and strawberries on it. Here's one that has bacon. It's got bacon, grilled bananas, peanut butter frosting, and that's honey on top. This is a little bit gross. All right, do you see where I'm going with this? Well, these are the types of donut creations that the creators of Gordo's Donuts make in Austin, Texas. They started off as just one little food trailer. But they became so incredibly popular that the word started spreading around town, and then the media started growing crazy over them, and then the word kept spreading, and the business kept growing, and today, they now have 3 locations in Austin. 2 of these locations are actual restaurants where you can sit down, order a full meal, and then for dessert, you can have some of those bacon donuts. And Gordo's has basically become a miniature food empire in Austin, Texas, and they're still growing to this day. And it's all because they embraced their own weirdness. But here's the thing. There are a lot of people out there who like to make fun of the weirdos. When you're trying to be weird, they're going to make fun of you. And we like to call them the haters. You guys know the haters? You know, the haters, they're going to try to make you feel bad for being different. That, you know, they're going to put you down for being weird. They're going to try to make you think that there's something wrong with embracing your weirdness. But in reality, there's something wrong with them. There's something wrong with the haters. It's their own insecurities that make them want to knock you down a notch. So your goal is this. When you guys are out there being weird and embracing your weirdness, your goal is to ignore the haters. Now here's the thing about the haters. I hate to disappoint you, but they're not just in high school, and they're not just in college. They're also in the business world as well, and you still have to ignore them. I'm going to give you a little example. You guys may have heard of a little device, they sold a couple of them, called the iPhone. You know, no big deal, just one of the best-selling gadgets in all of human history, right? But here's the thing. When the first iPhone came out, it was really weird. It was the first smartphone that didn't have a keyboard. It was the first smartphone that didn't have a removable battery. It was the first smartphone that did not have a cell phone subsidy. That's when the cell phone companies pay some money so the price is lower. It was a super expensive phone at the time. It was the first smartphone that had a multi-touch screen. It was the first smartphone that had Wi-Fi on it. There were so many things about the iPhone that made it weird. And all the haters came out to attack this new device. Here is a video of Steve Ballmer, the CEO of Microsoft at the time, talking about Apple's iPhone when it first came out in 2007.
Dave, let me ask you about the iPhone and the Zoom, if I may. The Zoom was getting some traction, and Steve Jobs goes to Macworld and he pulls out this iPhone. What was your first reaction when you saw that?
$500 fully subsidized with a plan? I said, that is the most expensive phone in the world, and it doesn't appeal to business customers because it doesn't have a keyboard, which makes it not a very good email machine. Now, it may sell very well or not. We have our strategy. We've got great Windows mobile devices in the market today. You can get a Motorola Q phone now for $99. It's a very capable machine. It'll do music, it'll do internet, it'll do email, it'll do instant messaging. So I kind of look at that and I say, well, I like our strategy. I like it a lot.
How do you compete with that, though? He sucked out a lot of the spotlight in the last few weeks because of what happened at Macworld, not only with the iPhone, but with the new iPod. And how do you compete with that, with the Zoom?
Right now, well, let's take phones first. Right now, we're selling millions and millions and millions of phones a year. Apple is selling 0 phones a year. In 6 months, they'll have the most expensive phone by far ever in the marketplace. And let's see, let's see how the competition goes.
So you can see that his own insecurities made him a hater and made him attack the weirdness of the iPhone. I mean, it was clear why he was attacking it. He had nothing to offer in response to the iPhone. And as you probably know, it is now Apple, which is the world's largest and most innovative company. And Microsoft is the company that is now struggling to stay relevant in the tech world. And today, it's Microsoft that sells almost 0 phones. And Steve Ballmer was fired from Microsoft. So remember, ignore the haters and stay on your path of weirdness. Thank you. So I'm going to share with you a little story from my own life on why it's important to be weird. And I'm going to tell you why right now. It's important to be weird because you never know where your weirdness will lead you. You never know what unexpected career opportunities might cross your path. And if you aren't being weird, if you aren't being true to yourself and following your own path, you might miss some of these great opportunities. So here's a story from my life. You already know that I'm an Apple weirdo, and I love Apple Computer, but here's something I didn't tell you. I was so obsessed with Apple that I used to collect Apple t-shirts in the late 1990s. And I had so many Apple t-shirts that I actually had to get an extra closet. I moved to a place that had an extra closet just so I could fill it up with all my Apple t-shirts. And I was so weird that I didn't even wear these shirts. I just wanted to look at them. I didn't want to wear them because I didn't want them to get dirty. This is like, what a weirdo I am. And by the way, it was very, very difficult to collect t-shirts back then because this is before the internet. And so I couldn't just go on like eBay or Craigslist or Amazon or do a Google search. No. I actually had to spend years going out in person to find these t-shirts. I had to go to swap meets. I had to go to computer geek meetings. I had to go to thrift stores. I had to go all over to find these t-shirts. Well, one day, something unusual happened. Weird coincidence. I was in a grocery store, and there was another guy who was shopping down in the milk aisle, and he was wearing an Apple t-shirt that I had never seen before. And I knew I needed that t-shirt. And so I went up to this guy, this stranger, and I said to him, dude, I'm so sorry to bother you, but I love Apple, I collect Apple t-shirts, and I would like to have that t-shirt that you're wearing. And he was like, dude, what are you talking about? No, of course not, of course you can't have my t-shirt. And I said, no, I am willing to give you $20 for that t-shirt, and I would like to give it to you right now. And if you take it off your body right now, I will exchange this shirt that I'm wearing with you. So I'll give you $20 plus my own shirt. And he's like, no, man, you are crazy. Absolutely not. I said, okay, $40 for your shirt. He goes, no. I said, okay, this is my final offer. I can't really afford this, but I'd like to give you $50 for that shirt, plus my shirt. Please, it would really make my collection. I'm actually lucky this guy didn't call security on me, right? And he was like, absolutely not. Can you please leave me alone? I'm trying to do some grocery shopping. And so I was dejected. I left. I drove away from the grocery store. And about a block away, it suddenly struck me that I had actually forgotten to ask him the most important question of all. Where did he get the shirt from? Right? It was like the easiest, simplest question I could have asked him. I totally forgot. And so I did a U-turn. I went back to the grocery store. I parked in the loading zone. Oh, by the way, don't ever park in a loading zone. Those are very expensive tickets. So take it from me. And I ran in the grocery store hoping that he was still there. And he was. He was still there. And I said, excuse me. And he goes, dude, I told you. I said, no. I have a different question. Where did you get that shirt? Because I want to get one for myself. And he said, oh, well, you can't get one of these because Apple gives these t-shirts out to people who speak for them at all of their events nationwide. I said, wait a second, what? What are you talking about? He goes, yeah, Apple hires public speakers to go around the country for them, get up on stage at all of their events, and talk about their products. I said, wait a second, this is a thing? This is what I've been doing since I was 10 years old. All I do is talk about Apple Computer. I said, I'm the biggest Apple lunatic you've ever met. I said, how can I get this job? And he said, well, it's very competitive. But the weird thing is, he said, it's funny you asked because we actually just had to fire somebody last week because he wasn't doing a very good job. And Apple is holding auditions tomorrow morning for someone else to replace his position. But you already missed it. It's all the way up in San Francisco tomorrow. And I said, no, wait a second. I was in Los Angeles at the time. I said, I will drive up to San Francisco tonight to be there for that audition. And he said, okay, all right. Are you going to act as crazy as this? I said, no, I'll tone down the craziness. I'll tone it down. And he said, okay. And that night, this guy faxed me over the audition size. We were still using faxes back then. He faxed me over the audition size. And I jumped in my car at midnight that night, and I drove up from Los Angeles to San Francisco. Actually, Cupertino, which is right near San Francisco. That's where Apple Computer is. And the next morning at 9 a.m., I was standing in an executive boardroom in Apple headquarters, reading these audition lines, talking about the brand new Mac Pro which was coming out. Basically, I stood up in front of the room and pretended that I was talking all about the new product that was just coming out. And I found out 2 days later that the executives loved it, and I was the newest hire to be Apple's professional speaker around the country. And the result of this was that for the next 6 years, I got to travel around the country and get up on stage and speak at every single Apple event nationwide. Sometimes I would speak in front of 100,000 people. I also got to open up the first 21 Apple retail stores in the country. And thank you very much. And I was able to speak at the grand opening of every of the first 21 stores that opened up. And best of all, I got to meet and interact with my idol, Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple. And he was almost always there, sitting front and center, listening to me speak, giving me tips. He was a very, very hands-on CEO. And it was really incredible. Oh, by the way, I also got that t-shirt that I wanted to. So these years that I spent with Apple were some of the best years of my life. And it all happened because I was the biggest weirdo that you had ever met. And I embraced my weirdness. And I was actually able to dig up some old video footage of me speaking on stage for Apple. And I have just about a minute to show you here, so you can see, get a little taste of what I did on stage for them. Welcome. My name is Scott, and I am excited to be giving you a presentation of Panther, which is the 4th major release of Mac OS X, which was just launched on October 24th. Now, iChat, it's the best way to instant message, but now it's gotten even better in Panther with the new iChat AV. With full motion, full screen video over broadband, and crystal clear audio over 56K modem, there's really no quick way to jump between open windows and other applications until now. Expose gives you single keystroke access to any open window in any application. And that's Expose. What do you guys think? So there you have it. A little taste of what I did for Apple. Thanks so much. So, whatever makes you weird, embrace your weirdness. Because your weirdness represents your passions. And your passions will ultimately lead to a career that you love. And sometimes, your passions can lead to multiple careers that you love. For example, in my own life, as a result of me speaking for Apple, I was hired as a contributing editor for Mac Life magazine, one of the leading Mac magazines in the country. I wrote cover stories and articles for them for years. I even had my own column where I answered people's tech questions every month. I was sort of like a high-tech version of Dear Abby. And I also traveled around the country and gained some fantastic media attention for my own one-man comedy show that I created called Computer Geek, One Nerd's Search for His Soulmate. Comedy Central invited me to perform on stage at their theater in Los Angeles, and my show was directed by Richard Klein, who you may remember as Larry from the TV show Three's Company. And I would love to show you the video trailer for my one-man show. So here we go. What's a soulmate? What's a soulmate? I'm looking for my soulmate. My parents got a divorce, and my dad left behind an Apple IIe computer as a substitute for a father. And that's when I actually realized why I haven't found my soulmate yet. Hi, I'm Scott. I'm Scott. Hey, Vanessa, would you like to go to the dance with me? And then, parting in my pants, she kicked me in the balls hard, and she slammed the door in my face. She just looked up at me and said, "There's no magic in the world, is there?" Never talk to a woman on the phone for more than 3 minutes. You're letting her know your time is valuable, and she wants to talk to you. She has to do it naked, in person. I got dirt all over my face, all over my body. I collapsed to the ground, my books scattered everywhere. Would I be different if I grew up with sisters? Water was spraying everywhere. The pain was throbbing. Should I secretly enjoy the chase? I had totally destroyed the date. Alex had accused me of stalking her. This book says that you must continually barrage a woman with funny banter non-stop. And she started crying again. Soulmate, where are you? Thanks, you guys. And through all of these adventures, I was still running my computer business, Scott World. I was still providing technical support and computer programming for all of my clients because I love what I do. Because when you're a weirdo and you're passionate about your weirdness and you embrace your weirdness, you realize that the real reward is not financial, right? Like any job is going to pay you money. The real reward is waking up every day and loving what you do. And to give you an idea of the type of computer programming work that I do for businesses around the country, I'd like to show you this video that one of my clients in Los Angeles created for me. In this video, you'll hear him talk about FileMaker Pro. That's the name of the programming language that I use to write software for businesses, including this business named Kessler Camera. So check this out.
You may not have heard of Kessler Camera before, but if you've seen popular Hollywood films and TV shows like Criminal Minds, Chicago Fire, House MD, Oblivion, etc., then you've seen our work. We are one of the world's largest motion picture camera and camera equipment rental houses, and our entire operations, from start to finish, are handled by FileMaker Pro. We use a custom-developed FileMaker system that we affectionately call Flawless. Flawless was developed by the certified FileMaker developers over at Scott World. Flawless has enabled us to grow from a staff of what was once just 3 employees that now number over 60 across 6 locations nationwide, who rent out tens of thousands of pieces of camera equipment to thousands of Hollywood productions and commercials per year. The efficiency that FileMaker Pro has brought Kessler Camera has helped us completely streamline our operations and improve revenue generation, such that we will be moving our headquarters soon into a much larger, brand new state-of-the-art facility. FileMaker Pro and the new FileMaker Go app touch every aspect of our operation, from generating an initial quote, to creating pick lists for our employees on iPads, to tracking tens of thousands of barcoded assets around the globe. From creating and sending purchase orders, to running reports allowing us to take a snapshot of where we're at as a company. We've even drastically reduced our reliance on paper and printing costs, not only saving costs and overhead, but also reducing our impact on the environment. All of this has been made possible through the power of FileMaker Pro.
So that is the type of work that my company does. So would you like to see what Scott World headquarters looks like? All right, this is it. Scott World headquarters, Austin, Texas. It's a one-person business. It's just me, my laptop, and my cat. I mean, this is really weird, right? I work with my clients remotely, so technically I can do my work from wherever I am. I love to travel, so I just take my work with me wherever I go. Sometimes I travel real close. This is my backyard, right outside my apartment in Austin, so oftentimes you see me sitting right there on the lake doing my work. And sometimes I'll travel far. This is me in Egypt. I go visiting the pyramids during the day, and I come home to my hotel at night and do my computer programming work. And sometimes my cat comes with me. This is us on our road trip, or that's him on our road trip to New York City last summer, where I spent the entire summer working and living there. So the reason I'm telling you all of this is because when you embrace your own weirdness, you can make your career path look like however you want it to look like. Your career path becomes unique to you because it's your own unique weirdness that you're embracing. So your career is going to look totally different from everyone else's. And you can embrace your weirdness every single day at Glenbrook South. There are dozens of electives for you to choose from here at GBS. There's over 100 extracurricular activities as well. There's bound to be something that will resonate with you. And if you can't find something that you like here, you can just walk right down to the student activities office and talk to them about creating your own weird activity. All you have to do is keep your mind open and say yes to as many of these opportunities as you can. And that is the secret to embracing your weirdness. Because the more things that you say yes to, the sooner you'll be able to figure out what you click with and what your particular weirdness is. And remember, your weirdness is important because it represents your passions, and your passions will ultimately lead you to a career that you love. Now look, you guys can say no to stuff later, okay? But if you say no to everything first, then you'll never know what sort of potential career opportunities you might have missed. So I'm going to tell you one final story from my life. And you guys all know the TV show American Idol, right? Well, I'm going to give you an example from my life of something that I almost said no to. Back in 2003, during season 2 of American Idol, there was a performer named Clay Aiken. You guys know Clay Aiken? You were thinking that? Well, it's funny because everybody thought that I looked like Clay Aiken back at that time. Now, I don't really see the resemblance, particularly with those two photos, but it was crazy because I constantly got stopped in the street, at restaurants, at the mall, anywhere that I was. People came up to me thinking I was Clay Aiken. They wanted autographs, they wanted to take photos with me. It was crazy. And I even had incidents with the paparazzi. They were trying to take photos of me while I was eating at restaurants and stuff. And it was crazy. Well, it was time for the season finale of American Idol. It was taking place at the Universal Studios Amphitheater in Los Angeles, where I lived at the time. And my brother called me up on the phone. And he said, "Scott, you have got to drive down to Universal Studios today and crash the season finale of American Idol." And he thought it would be funny that, like, maybe I could get up on stage and pretend, trick the audience I was a Clay Aiken lookalike, or maybe they would put me in the front row and they would cut to me and it would say my name, like Scott Rose, Clay Aiken lookalike. You know, he didn't really know what might happen, but he said, "You got to go down there and try it out. Try something." Only thing we knew was that they were taping the season finale at 3 p.m., so I had to get there by 3 p.m. Well, I said to my brother, no. I said, no, that's stupid, it's never going to work, it's going to take me an hour to get down there, it's going to waste my day, I have other things to do, I'm tired, I'm hungry. I totally ignored my own rule about saying yes to new opportunities. Well, my brother's very persuasive, and he finally got me to say yes. So I drove down, took to the Universal Studios, it took me an hour to get there, and I went up to the back door of the amphitheater, and the executives, the TV executives, actually were all fooled. They actually all thought I was Clay Aiken. They were coming up to me, shaking my hand, saying congratulations. And eventually, you know, I had to tell them who I was and why I was there, what my brother's vision was. You know, maybe I could get on stage, maybe I could be in the audience. And the executives were like, no. And I left the amphitheater, started walking back to my car. I was dejected. And funny thing happened. On my way to my car, there was a TV news crew there. And they thought at first that I was Clay Aiken as well. And then I said, no, look, I'm just a Clay Aiken lookalike. And they said, we want to do a story on you. And this is what aired on TV that night.
returning right now with more on the American Idol Frenzy. Jennifer.
Well, frenzy is the right word, Carrie and Pat. If you don't think American Idol has a big impact on the American psyche, well, let me introduce you to one man who's cashing in on the American phenomenon. Hollywood, where fans and fame go hand in hand print.
You can do your own handprints like the stars in Hollywood.
A star was born tonight, but it wasn't necessarily Ruben.
Before American Idol began, I had a normal life.
Amateur singer Clay Aiken may have lost tonight.
And suddenly, overnight, I became the sex symbol of America.
But computer programmer Scott Rose has ended up a winner.
Because I look almost identical to Clay Aiken. I get stopped somewhere between 200 and 300 times a day. 4 tickets? Let me see what I can do.
We first noticed Rose walking around Universal Studios Hollywood.
Great. Did you vote for me?
Yeah, where the final episode of American Idol was being taped.
I haven't had to pay for one thing since Clay became big.
But while the real Clay Aiken was inside the amphitheater battling it out with Ruben Studdard, Scott Rose was outside basking in a little American Idol worship.
I went to Starbucks just a few minutes ago, and look, they just put the name Clay on my receipt. They didn't even ask what my name was. They said, Clay, your drink's ready.
We were walking through City Walk looking for American Idol people because we know they were doing the filming tonight.
At first, fans felt they found what they had come for.
We thought it was Clay Aiken from American Idol.
But eventually, the stardust in fans' eyes began to clear.
I'm a little skeptical.
You are?
And if there's a lesson here, it's that fame is fleeting, fans are fickle.
I feel pretty embarrassed.
And before you ask for an autograph, ask for an ID. Right now, the stars of American Idol, Clay and Ruben and Kelly and all of the cast are in a private party at the Universal Studios theme park. Scott Rose was not invited. Reporting live from Universal Studios Hollywood, I'm Jennifer Sabi, KCAL 9 News. And Carrie, back to you.
Okay, Jennifer. Oh, sure, if it's them. How do we know it's them?
Oh, at the party?
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's one way to get around all those folks asking for your autograph.
So none of that would have happened to me if I didn't say yes to my brother about going down to Universal Studios that day. So what does this have to do with finding a career? Well, absolutely nothing. Except the next day, I got a call from a talent agent in LA. He saw the news clip and he said that his current Clay Aiken lookalike was so busy and so packed with events that he needed to get another Clay Aiken lookalike on staff. He needed someone to go to bar mitzvahs and weddings and bachelorette parties and sing and act like Clay Aiken. And he said that that year, Clay Aiken demand was so big that he could probably get me $100,000 worth of Clay Aiken lookalike gigs that year. Well, I turned him down because A, I don't know how to sing at all. And also, I didn't really want a career of being somebody else. But the moral of the story shows that when you say yes to opportunities and you act like a weirdo, unexpected career opportunities can fall into your lap. So, remember, say yes to new opportunities because that will lead to you being weird, which will ultimately lead to you finding a career that you love. Thank you. Well, thanks so much, you guys. Have an incredible